Hi YouTube. Sorry I've been gone for a long time, but today I'm going to be talking about Lilith in the first house and what that means if your Lilith is in the first house and what Lilith is. So Lilith is it's a space between Earth and the Moon. It's like basically a cosmic void of spirituality in a sense, but it's also the shadow side to a personality. It's the feminine version this is how I like to put it. It's the feminine version of Pluto. So when Pluto falls into the first house of the physical body, of the physical appearance, where your ascendant is, we're going to see a person that has more darker features, a more sexual person. The women with this aspect have very bodacious bodies, very curvy bodies. Um, even if it's not, even if you don't have like a curvy or something body, you have something very alluring about your physique. If this is aspecting your ascendant, like if it's conjunct your ascendant. If not, you may just have more sexual features to yourself, like more an oozing sexuality. And a lot of the times, if it is conjuncting your ascendant, or if it is aspecting your ascendant or your Venus or something like that, it is going to be a more of a dark sexuality, of a more alluring magnetic. If it's not, you're just going to be seen as someone who's very flirtatious, may be very feminine looking. It doesn't necessarily have to be dark. That's only if it's aspecting something. So I want to make that clear. This is the first house, so it's all about how you're kind of perceived and your early upbringing in a sense. So people with this have a very fierce nature. They're very independent people, and they are very quick to react to anything around them. They're very independent, and they have an innate kind of strength on the inside, as if they can kind of get through anything, and they don't really care what you say about them. In fact, these people like it when you talk about them, whether it be bad or good. You with Lilith in the first house may have a lot of enemies or just people that dislike you, because you tend to have a lot of admirers and a lot of attention on you because of your beauty and your sexuality. So therefore, like, people may just hate you for that. That's unless you embody more of the darker qualities where you're just kind of rude, because Lilith in the first house tend to be very confident and tend to be very strong, and they don't waste their time with negativity. Now that's the positive side of this. Like, they're just very confident, they're very strong. But the very negative side of this aspect can be someone who's very rude because they know that they are superior in a sense. These people like to be superior, and they like to have the attention on them. And whether they do or they don't, like if you have a Capricorn ascendant, that you might not even like center of attention, but you just get it a lot, or you may have a lot of admirers, or you may just be seen as someone who's very sexual even though you're not, then people just may not like you because they make assumptions. But let's say you have an Aquarius, like an air or a fire rising, then you're someone who's very out there, and therefore you may just have a lot of haters because they just hate you. You know what I mean? And that's like the downside. But now when it comes to style, now these people can have a very provocative style, or they can have a very dark mystical style. It just depends on like what your ascendant is and how it's aspecting Lilith and all of that. So those females that have a very provocative style are also going to be someone that is very confident in herself, and she likes to be not, I wouldn't say that she likes to be objectified or sexualized, but I'm just saying, like, these are the type of girls or men that wear more provocative clothing to receive the attention in a sense, or they just want to feel confident, that could be it. But they can pull off about any look that they want to, just because they want to look extraordinary, they want to look eccentric, they want to be apart from every female or every male, you know what I mean? So therefore, in order to look apart from them, they might go towards a more provocative style and something that's more sexual, because if you are the type of person that doesn't receive attention from your intelligence, from your talents or anything, then you receive attention from your looks, and a lot of people can abuse that power here. but it's not good or bad. That's what I want to put out there, because what I tend to say on my videos can offend people, but I just say the facts as it is. Now, if you are someone that uses your sexuality for attention, I really don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like, it's whatever. But I'm just saying it. And I'm not calling you a slut. I'm not slut shaming. And I'm not saying that you're a whore or anything. Because a lot of times these girls or men just have that persona of a very alluring persona. So it can be either you wear provocative clothing or you just dress in a very brooding style, a very mystical style. Now, I want to say that this plays out in different ways. So this can affect your mentality, and you may have a lot of inner demons, especially due to attention or just you feel the need to own up to your hierarchy. What am I saying? You feel the need to like always meet the standards of what others place on you in a sense. And that's when like self-harm or just very hard pressure on yourself to always meet those standards can play in, and therefore you can develop eating disorders. You may be someone that binges a lot because Lilith is the planet of like excess and indulgence and all of that also. So therefore just anything to do with your physical body and how you are appeared may trigger something on the inside in your mind that you always feel the need to meet, and you have a pressure to like meet your standards and always like be the person that you are labeled as. But a lot of people also don't care. So you like to be talked about. Now, whether that be good or bad, we already talked about the enemy thing. Now let's talk about sex and drugs. This isn't always, but a lot of people with this aspect are very open with their sexuality. And I find that very admirable in a sense, because women with this aspect are very strong and powerful, and they usually don't care what others say about them. And this is why I like admire this placement a lot in the female, because she is very open with her sexuality. Not everyone, but I'm just saying majority are very open, and they don't care, and they don't mind being judged, and they don't mind being talked bad about, because they know that it's like a whatever thing to them. You know what I mean? Like they know where they stand. They know they're beautiful goddesses. And I admire that a lot about them. The problem is those that are cocky about it bother me a little bit. But if this is negatively aspected and you are someone that doesn't like to be the center of attention or doesn't like to be sexualized, there can be indications of either sexual abuse or some that you've been sexualized since you were young, because these women are very beautiful and the men are very sexy as well. But you may have been either sexually abused, you may have been sexualized from you were a young age and may have not liked it and felt uncomfortable, and you just grew up accepting it when you never really wanted to. That can be an issue here. Or you have just learned to accept your sexuality for what it was since you were younger, and you're very open about it. Now, I don't remember if I spoke about this, but the relationship, if you're a female with your father, might have been a little bit violent, might have been a little traumatic and dramatic in a sense, you know what I mean? He may have been just someone who's always trying to like control you, because if like you are a sexual being as a female because you have Lilith in the first house, your father may have not liked that. So therefore he might have been a really like you know, not wanting you to be seen as someone who you're meant to be seen as. You know what I mean? Like you're meant to be a very sexual, beautiful creature, and sometimes fathers don't like that. If this is negatively aspected, a lot of people can turn to either what's it called? Prostitution, pornography, all of that stuff, because it is just a sexual planet in the first house. So yeah, for me personally, the people that I've met that have Lilith in the first house, it usually just affects their appearance and their physical body. I've never really met anybody that is Lilith in the first house that is actually a Lilith character, because you know Lilith can be can hold a grudge, is very manipulative. It's like the female version of Pluto in a sense. But they're usually just perceived as someone that is of that character, but they're usually not. Like, I had a friend with this position, and like everybody like would say stuff about her, but who she was at the core was a very like easy, light person who liked fun, and like just how she was perceived out is completely different than how she was, because she's a Gemini with a Aquarius ascendant with a Libra moon. So she wasn't really Lilith at all. It was just like because it fell in her first house, people just didn't like her or were either obsessed with her. If you're a girl, a lot of females might be obsessed with you. I'm just saying that. So watch out for anybody trying to like tear you down and all that. Yeah, so sex and drugs might be a theme. I think I already said that, just because there's a negative side to Lilith that can be very dark. So it just depends how it's aspected. I want you to look in your birth chart to see if it aspects your ascendant. If it's conjunct your ascendant, you might want to read into that. If it's conjunct or opposition square Pluto, you might want to look at that also. And possibly your Venus and Mars. So yeah, I hope this helped. I really love people that have Lilith in the first house. I think their energy is amazing. I think it's very powerful, especially if they're women. I look up to these people, up to the women with this placement, because they are just a very strong female persona, and I admire that a lot. And if you're a male and you have this, you guys are dangerous to women, a little bit dangerous, because they can be players. People with Lilith in the first house can be players, and especially if you are a man. But yeah, I hope this helped, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Leave any comments if you think I was wrong, if I said something or left something out. I'll see you guys later. Bye.